Broadcasting live from the Temple of Abandon on the plain of Theros. This is Tap Tap Concede. Hey everybody, welcome. Graham here.
Cameron here.
And Nelson here.
And today we're going to be continuing with the mythical origins of Theros Beyond Death because I have many more notes to get to. But first, a reminder that this show is brought to you by Card Kingdom. Check out cardkingdom.com/LRR. Tell them we sent you. They'll give you and ask for a button, and they'll give you a little button. They just got the new ones in. And it's, that has reach? Which they tweeted a picture of it pinned to a copy of Flummoxed Cyclops. So at least someone at Card Kingdom is listening to the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also enjoy the counterpoint to that has reach, which is that flies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
that-
more common, I thought that flew.
I thought that had flying. Yeah. Attack. Okay. Block with my ground creature. What? I thought, oh.
Yeah, the like
Okay.
the like level 1 version of that has reach. It's just like, oh, I thought my guy had flying.
Yeah. It was, I mean,
Not reading your own cards is
Yeah.
more embarrassing than not reading your opponent's cards, I think. Yeah.
for me, Theros was the first time that really came up because Breaching Hippocamp definitely looks like it has flying.
Right.
I sure haven't thrown loads of 1/1 Kamigawa spirit tokens
Oh, right.
into anything.
Anything, yeah.
Right,
Whatever
anything
they've
at all.
got, yeah.
They're a
All their
1/1
squares.
spirit. That's it. They don't.
Yep.
They don't have flying. They look awesome though. The old Kamigawa spirit tokens. They're wood.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
wood elemental. They're really cool looking. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Also, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell. Why not?
Hey, thanks. We noticed.
Thank you.
You did it. Thank you.
Before we get into the main topic, again, we're not going to do a Crack-a-Pack this week because I have so many interesting mythical notes to get through. First of all, we're recording this atypically on a Tuesday. Normally we record on Friday and it goes up on Monday. We're recording on Tuesday because Cameron and I are leaving for PAX East tomorrow morning at a time that I do not wish to engage with. And
I don't believe it exists.
so we won't be back until this episode airs, so that's not really helpful. We were at PAX this past weekend. You missed it.
And we still managed to get this podcast recorded.
Yeah. But what
Luckily,
what?
nothing has happened since we recorded this podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that means if like the sky falls magic-wise on Thursday, that's why we're not talking about it.
I'm really looking forward to Secret Lair All Fetches.
Yeah.
That is announced tomorrow.
And I'm excited about that new booster pack expansion that they're going to include solid gold bars in that was just announced on Friday.
Want to get me some of them.
Yeah.
Although I'm hoping for a foil.
Speaking of Secret Lair, actually, that is the other sort of subtopic that we're going to talk about. They just announced, so I had missed the announcement where they said they were going to be doing a Secret Lair drop about every month. I had actually missed that.
It feels more frequent than that to me, but I also missed that. Okay.
Well, they've done, so they did the
Back in
first,
December,
they
that's
did the
what they
first
said, or- yeah,
round,
sorry.
and then they did Year of the Rat and the Theros Constellations, and they've now announced the one that's going up on March 8th for International Women's Day. And honestly, this looks really sick. So it's $50, 25 of which go to the International Association for Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, which is apparently a like chosen charity of International Women's Day. And it's 5 legendary creatures that are women with new art by women. So it's Captain Cisse, Meren of Clan Telnoth,
Neltoth.
Neltoth, Terran of Moran Melcloth.
That really sweet green-black legend that brings
Hobbit.
creatures back.
Yeah.
The only card that uses experience tokens.
Yes,
Right, yeah,
right.
pretty-
The
it's
only card. Oh, right. They're
definitely the
awesome,
most
James,
played
thanks.
one.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, Meren of Clan Neltoth by Cynthia Shepard. Captain Cisse by Magali Villeneuve. Yeah.
Nice. Saskia is in there.
Yeah, Saskia.
the
Oh, right.
Unyielding.
Sorry. Yes,
Oh,
Narset, Enlightened Master by, it's hard to read. 'cause-
Livia Prima.
Thank you. The text is so small on these JPEGs. Yes, Saskia, you said. The Unyielding
yeah.
by Anna Steinbauer.
Such great use of light there.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for the alt art Una, Queen of the Fae
Yeah, that's absolutely gorgeous.
by Mia Pesic.
I think this is only the second picture we've gotten for Una.
Yeah, I think this is the
And-
only the second time that
And now
had
she's
it.
totally spoiled for art because the first one's also just gorgeous. It's Rebecca Gay, isn't it? on
I
the
think
first?
so.
I want to say, yeah.
I think the first art.
Yeah, but
it's,
this one's
whoever did the first doing an amazing job also. But this
beautiful,
one's
too.
very, very, very pretty. Yes.
And you get arena sleeves of Saskia.
right.
Ooh.
So
It's cool that they're doing a what is it? Half your purchase fund goes to a charity. Which then I guess WotC gets to write off instead of you getting to write it off. But
Yeah.
still kind of cool. At least they're like, at least they're, bringing attention through this project to International Women's Day. At least they are channeling funds that they collect
Yeah,
to the
and-
Girl Guides. That's cool.
Yeah, Girl Guides are a pretty good organization too.
Yeah,
from
I
what
think so. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And then what you get as the buyer is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Like the money they're asking for, it just seems kind of arbitrary which price point they pick. Obviously for these,
Yeah.
a little bit. I don't know what
Like
the
I guess
thinking
the
is
foil
there.
Una is the chase. Here,
are these ones all
probably?
foil?
I think they're all foil.
These ones I think are all foil.
Okay.
Like the Marin seems like a pretty good pickup for us Lander players. Actually, I don't know
Yeah.
if Marin like sees much play.
She has. Saskia and Marin have both
Mm-hmm.
seen play in, I want to say both in the same deck. Although Marin,
Really?
you can sometimes just play in Golgari as well.
Yeah,
like
like
Alex may have played Marin in Black Mold, and I think Allison has played Marin before.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. And Saskia is just kind of like the banner bearer for what Four Color Blood wants to do.
Yeah.
Right, like just jam like efficient creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, commander
Lot going on
players
there.
don't need to be told that these are sweet.
Right, for sure. Yeah, if you're playing Commander, you're probably excited about the Captain Cisse. She doesn't do anything in Canadian Highlander, but Una sometimes shows up in blue control decks or black control decks.
Speaking
I've
of
played
Canadian
in mono
Highlander,
black.
in case you missed it, last Tuesday at time of you listening to this, we put up a video on this channel going over the recent changes to the Canadian Highlander points list.
Oh, I watched that video this morning.
Yeah.
So did I, yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, it was really nice. Ben Wheeler was sort of came to us and was like, "Hey, we write an article about this, but I think a video would be a better way to get the things across because then we can actually talk about it with some amount of subtlety." And so yeah, he and Robin Sorensen came in here and they discussed the changes to the points list, and it was like 15 minutes. It was super fun. So-
I'm on 0 points now.
Nice.
Oh, because Stoneforge is down to
Yep.
nice.
And it was like just their discussion of why Stoneforge is 0 points was humbling because they were like, yeah, I suppose people could run Batterskull, but then you're playing
Then you're playing a 5-mana
Batterskull.
equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
Hey.
I was looking for a Batterskull. But
Well, if you got no points, now you can run all those mocks
yeah.
that you have.
Absolutely. I'll just slam in. I mean, I think the winning Highlander or Aristocrats Highlander list actually runs 3 mocks.
Yeah, I think that's where you want to be.
Yeah, three mocks DT? No.
You can't. You can play 2 mocks DT if you want because DT is 4 points.
Right.
But you can play Imperial Seal if you want, but I'm not sure you'd want to do that in Aristocrats.
Yeah.
Your last point, I don't know, is Mana Vault good in your deck? I'm not sure what you want to play. Possibly DT with 2 mocks is better than 3
I really need the
mocks.
colored pips. I think.
Either one's good. I don't know if you need to worry about that 10th point, whether you use it or not. Either 2 mocks DT or 3 mocks. Both could be a good Aristocrat spread, I think.
You should go on our other podcast at some point
There you go.
and talk about it.
Yeah, workshop the Aristocrat. Is that?
Yeah.
That'd be a sweet North 100 episode. Just like in the SpongeBob caps, like the name of the episode is just like, is this good in Aristocrats? Featuring Cam.
Yeah.
yeah. That'd
I
be
don't know.
sweet.
I've never won a game, but let's find out.
All right, for this show, however, today on Mythical Origins of Theros Part 2, in case you missed last time, go have a listen. But this is the real-world mythical inspirations for the cards from Theros.
So we did
because-
the gods last time, right?
Yeah, we did the gods and
gods.
the sagas and the demigods, and we started into the legendary creatures. So we're going to start with more legendary creatures. This, again, was compiled by Raber, or Aaron, and his notes were edited by Raven Kennedy, and Raber was posting in the comments last time because some people were like, well, what about this? And Raber was like, well, yes, let's talk about that. So that was really nice to see. There was some good Greek myth discussions happening down there. As
Look at us nerds
fans
all
of
getting
it.
smarter.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm proud of y'all.
So let's start with Atris, the Oracle of Half-Truths. No specific sort of no specific figure here, but this is probably a general reference to the tendency for oracles in Greek myth to just sort of give people kind of like vague prophecies that could come true in different ways.
Yeah, it's now I'm just more confused.
I managed to get this cushy job as an oracle. I know. I'll try to make sure I don't get my head cut off.
Yeah.
I'll say something that will end up being true somehow, no matter what.
Right.
And the oracles tended to be associated with a given god. So, because we've heard probably most famously of the oracle at Delphi, or Delphi, which was Apollo's oracle. Zeus had his own oracle. I guess, judging only by the colors, maybe this is Phoenix's oracle?
Good guess.
Maybe?
Yeah, seems like a reasonable guess.
Yeah. But anyway, no specific character here. Daclykos, on the other hand, is Daedalus. It's Daedalus.
Yep. He's even working on a pair of wings.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that gets the wings and Daedalus and everything get referenced a lot by several different cards, honestly, throughout the thing. Daedalus made the labyrinth for the Minotaur for King Minos. He made the wax and feather wings that worked up until Icarus flew too close to the sun. You may be familiar with that turn of phrase. And apparently did some pretty unsavory other stuff for Minos that Raber won't share the details of, but it would be inaccurate to not at least mention it. It involved a fake wooden bull, and that's all I will say. All right.
Oh, wait.
Google search is trending after this episode. Include.
Include Daedalus.
What the heck did Daedalus do?
Include how to spell Daedalus.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Daedalus is basically the most famous artificer and genius of Greek myth. He solved the puzzle of stringing a spiral seashell with a thread by getting an ant to do it for him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
All right. Outsourcing.
Gallia. So this is not a direct reference, but just sort of interesting notes about satyrs. Historically, satyrs were all male, and it's not a problem that they've introduced female satyrs in this set. But what's cool here is that satyrs were often associated with Dionysia, the festival honoring Dionysus, where there was singing and dancing and theater and wine and all that. So it just sort of that's what's going on here. This is it's a festival of excess, as it says in there's no success like excess in the comments there.
I just love
Flavor
the guy
text.
like vibing on the bottom right.
Yeah, this card, obviously, the art for this card specifically was a big win for this set, as I'm sure you've seen or we've already talked about. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the satyr just over the guy's left shoulder.
Yeah.
who's like, I just remembered I had a banana.
I really believe that she is like, guys, an entire banana. It fit.
Oh no.
Like just the expression she has where she's holding this person's head and has the banana. I really want to believe that in order to get into the endless dance, you have to have like, you know how House Harkonnen had the heart plugs installed?
right.
All these people have banana plugs on the back of their head.
Oh my god. This is the best head canon I've ever heard.
Head banana. But the guy vibing on the bottom right is just,
He's having a great time.
yeah.
There's a lot of good times
I
being
get it.
had.
I'm feeling it.
Haktos, as many people very quickly surmised, is of course Achilles. 100% Achilles here. Now, the story of Achilles, he's the ultimate warrior in Greek myth, probably second only to Heracles, and he's functionally invincible. In the Achilliad, we learn about him because his mother, Thetis, a nymph, dipped him in the river Styx to make him immortal, but of course, if she let go, then he might drown. So she held on to him by his heel, and so held him submerged in the river Styx, meaning he was invulnerable everywhere on his body except for his Achilles heel, and that is so mechanically represented by the random weakness. And Rayburn notes entertainingly that Fateful End is one of the cards that could hypothetically kill him if you roll 3. Also, he could hypothetically die in the Acroan War if he rolled a 4, since he would deal damage to himself.
Right.
Which is appropriate because Achilles in the Iliad fights in the Trojan War and kills so many people by himself right up until Paris shoots him with an arrow guided by Apollo. You'll notice actually that on Arena, the little icon, because Haktos has his own icon with a number on it to remind you which
What he doesn't have
which
protection
number
from.
he doesn't have protection from, and the icon in that is a sandaled foot with an arrow in the heel.
Neat. That's quite a cute little bit of detail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Also, he famously used a spear, so he uses it to kill Hector in the Iliad.
So if you could
Badly.
dip your kid in like a Joker vat of protective substance, is the problem that Achilles' mom had with like her fingers aren't allowed to touch the river Styx, or she'll die or something?
That's a great.
The river Styx is in
I
hell,
imagine,
right?
I imagine
Yeah.
that
She
everyone
goes
who has
to the
ever told
underworld.
this story,
Yeah.
everyone who has ever read the Achilliad, like they're, you read it or you get told it, and they're like, "Any questions?" Like, she just couldn't.
Yeah, but
Any other questions?
yeah, but why didn't she? Couldn't.
And then like
She
99 hands go down,
Yeah.
and then someone's got one other legitimate question. Fair enough.
yeah.
She just couldn't.
Don't Google that one. She just couldn't.
So Kuneros is not the only three-headed dog in Theros. Obviously, there's the 3-1 underworld.
Cerberus, right? Isn't it just a
Hellhound.
Cerberus or it's Hellhound? There's a
Underworld
Cerberus from the first Theros set too, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's a
there is.
5-mana black red 6/6
Yeah.
that also shuts down graveyard interaction.
Right,
Thank
there's
you.
this underworld Cerberus,
Yeah,
which
but-
stops things from leaving the graveyard.
But you'll notice this one is mythic, whereas the more recent one is rare for some reason.
Yes.
Sounds like Camus lost to it in draft.
It's also legendary, so we assume that just three-headed dogs in general guard the underworld, but Kuneros is the more literal Cerberus analog, I guess. In Greek myth, there are instances of several heroes interacting with Cerberus. Orpheus pacifies him by playing his lyre, his enchanting lyre.
Straight out of Harry Potter.
Yeah, and Heracles. I just no selling that. Moving on. Heracles wrestles him out of the underworld as part of his 12 labors, and plus he prevents the Cauldron Cat from doing its thing, which is fun. The extra little dog v cat flavor.
Nice.
And Siona is essentially, I guess we could say Jasona. Jason.
Oh, okay, it's Jason the Argonauts,
Jason of the
right?
Argonauts, yeah, because she is Siona, captain of the Pyleus, and I don't actually recall the name of Jason's boat. Well, I guess
It's
the Argus.
the Argus, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yes, because it's the Argonauts. Sorry. That was silly of me. Anyway.
It's okay.
Obviously, there's some visual reference to sort of like the Wonder Woman depiction of the Amazons, but definitely here much more meant to be Jason, the captain of the Argos, who went on a quest for the Golden Fleece, probably the most famous story, but they did a couple things. Fought the giant Talos, fought the bronze bulls, the Colchian dragon. He was also in Euripides' play Medea, which recasts him as an unfaithful husband to Medea, his witch lady wife, as he wants to marry the princess of Corinth. And the entire play ends with Medea killing the two kids that they've had together in revenge, and the princess of Corinth leaving Jason to his fate as she flees. So it's not a great play for him. But also, if you rearrange the letters in her name to Siona, you get Ioson, which is the Roman spelling of Jason, since
right.
I and J are interchangeable in Latin.
Cool.
But in the Latin alphabet.
There's like an Indiana Jones line here I'm thinking
Yeah,
of,
I'm
right?
trying to think of. It's
Yeah,
like, but in
which
the
one
Greek
is it?
alphabet, Jesus starts with an I.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So now we're on to miscellaneous creatures. So we're
Okay,
we're
we
beyond
threw
legendary
legendary
creatures.
creatures.
We're just on
Yeah.
to sort of like general fun facts about creatures of myth.
Hey, stick with us until we get to the entrancing lyre that plays itself. We're going to do that one last, probably.
Sure. I think artifacts are at the bottom of the list. So the Archon of Sun's Grace makes Pegasus, or Pegasi. Pegasi were born when Perseus cut off Medusa's head. Out sprang Pegasus and Chrysaor, who has various mythical interpretations. So that was originally it was just there was the one Pegasus, but then more Pegasus. It's a little This is the thing when you have the same sort of stories being told over hundreds of years, is that things sort of change.
I mean, I can't even keep it straight within like session to session of an RPG.
I know that feeling.
So, do you know if that's like a recipe? Like, can you make a Pegasus by cutting off a Medusa's head, and like
Well, the
you'll
thing is-
always get one?
The thing is, there was only one Medusa. Medusa herself was a Gorgon.
Oh, right.
But I don't know if any other Gorgon.
Have Pegasus hiding inside of them?
Yeah.
Are Pegasus Gorgon skeletons?
See, they don't really get into a lot of. This is the problem with when you start analyzing stuff with the eyes of today's fandom, where everything must be explained. Right? It's
Right.
like Perseus cut off Medusa's head, and out sprang Pegasus, and it's like, well, what do you mean out sprang?
Yeah.
Out of what? Out of the Gorgon? Was the Pegasus in the Gorgon? Are we talking like a parasitic thing? And it's like, no, just shut up, stop. He cut off Medusa's head, and then Pegasus appeared. Moving on, right? It's
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
A lot of these myths are like, don't
Yeah,
think
there's
about
all
it.
kinds of things springing out of all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. It was
There's-
shorthand.
There's no encyclopedia you can go to get all of these facts. Mm-hmm. We just have the story. This is a pretty sweet card, too, by the way.
That's amazing. Yeah. Let's take a quick look at Nyxborn Courser, because it references gold-hued apples and grain cakes in its flavor text. The gold-hued apples would be a reference to the golden apples of the Hesperides. While the grain cakes are generally associated with harvest festivals and the like. Usually, centaurs in Greek myth were not this helpful and were typically rowdy and drunken troublemakers, with the exception of Chiron.
Yeah, Chiron, who was tutor to somebody.
I don't recall. But
Chiron
yes.
was somebody's tutor. And then there were like 3 like children centaurs, Ixion,
Oh, yeah.
somebody else, and somebody else. They're in Inferno.
Yeah.
Cool.
If we look at Daybreak Chimera, the Chimera primarily show up in the myth of Bellerophon, where the titular hero, Bellerophon, work together with the Pegasus to take down the lion-headed, snake-tailed, goat-headed beast. That's right, 2 heads, multiple heads. There's a bird head on this one too, on this one as well. You know how he defeated the Chimera?
How?
Put lead down its throat. So as it tried to use its fire breath, it melted the lead, and then the lead went down further inside it, causing it to suffocate.
Idiot.
That has to suck. By the way, also it had fire breath. The Chimera is yet another of the spawn of Typhon and Echidna, who basically just made all the worst beasties.
I mean, I think feeding things lead works to kill many monsters, although it has a different valence in the parlance of our time. Gat.
Speaking of hippocamps, because we were talking about that earlier, if we take a quick look at
Can I make a
Wavebrick
side
hippocamp-
note about
Oh, yeah.
Chimera? Because it occurs to me that, like, in Magic, like, the creature you just described is so scary, and also there was probably just one Chimera. Again, it was like, maybe it was unique.
The Chimera, yes.
So it's like so much scarier than just definitely this particular white 3/4 flying, which seems to be pretty like, you know,
3/3.
sorry, 3/3 seems to be pretty, you know, noble and good natured just because it's a white creature.
Yeah.
But also the art. And like in Magic, there's so many different sprawling across all these planes, different scary monsters. You know, we've got like the Eldrazi and the Phyrexians to contend with. So just like a goat with wings is not going to be as scary, but from the myth, it's like, oh yeah, this is like a dragon, like a very scary dragon, right? Anyways, that's
Well,
all I
yeah,
want to say. So it's neat seeing the relative fierceness of these
Yeah.
monsters.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of that, right? Because it's like there's Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, and then Magic is like, all right, we got like 4 or 5 of these.
yeah, we're going to make Cerberus a common creature type.
Yeah, exactly. There's the Minotaur in the Labyrinth at Minos, and it's like, cool, we've got all these Minotaurs.
Turns out it's
kicking
just a
around.
2/3 for 3. Like anything can beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hippocamps were what was theorized. I mean, it's a horsefish. Basically, they were like, you know what a seahorse is going to look like when it grows up, like this. Even though that never happened. They were just like, this is what an adult seahorse would look like. They only show up briefly in the Argonautica as a portent of Poseidon. So
I mean, this is the banner bearer for, I thought it had flying.
yeah.
I thought my horsefish flew.
For me it was the breaching hippocamp from the original Theros that really looked like it had flying, but
Maybe they always just depict hippocamps like moving
Breaching.
upward and breaching. Exactly. This one's also breaching, even though it's not called breaching hippocamp. Yeah.
The Naiad of Hidden Coves, Raber points out, is interesting only because naiads were nymphs of bodies of fresh water, and this is seawater. So,
An invasive species.
I believe you've gotten this incorrect.
Are there dryads of seawater then?
Not really.
Okay. All right. That's where the hippocamps live instead.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
So this is interesting. The Sage of Mysteries, mostly noted here because this could be a reference to the mystery cults, very special religious orders of sorts that kept the rituals and knowledge secret and were thus very intriguing to the common person who would want to join because of the mystique. They were usually attached to gods. Heracles was famously initiated into the Eleusinian mysteries, for example. So just sort of, like, what are you doing? Nothing. Can I join? Maybe.
Still works to this day.
Yeah.
Just don't invite people, but have a party.
Threnody Singer is a siren. We know all about sirens from the Odyssey. She's beckoning, as you can see, and it looks like I've never actually paid attention to this in the art, but there's a lot of just sort of men wandering along the beach with like
Yeah, the blue
Yeah.
tendrils.
tendrils coming out of their
mind control.
head.
yeah, the
Yeah.
mind control kind of
And
things.
maybe that's a shipwreck in the very background. But yeah, in the Odyssey, the sirens, it's weird. It's like they know about them. It's like, all right, look, the sirens, they're gonna sing, and you're gonna want to go to them, and then the ship will crash, and then we'll be dashed upon the rocks, and we'll all die. That's what sirens do. And Odysseus is like, I got to see what's up with this. All right, tell you what. Everybody plug your ears, like ram your ears full of whatever so you're not going to hear these things. But me, tie me to the mast. I want to hear this. And then they're like, all right, you weird captain. So then they start sailing past the sirens, and he's just enthralled. He's like screaming at them to let him go, and because he's like, he really, really wants to go and be with the sirens. And he's like thrashing against the thing. And eventually they get past and they're fine. And, they're like, that was a weird thing. But yeah, I find that really funny that he's like, I want to see what's up with this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
For science, I
Yeah.
need to find out if I really would have dashed us upon the rocks.
Yeah.
A threnody is a particular kind of musical verse, isn't it? Or
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the famous one that people might be familiar with is Threnody for the Victims of Hiroshima,
Okay.
which was kind of pseudo-famously used in Children of Men quite
Okay.
a lot.
Okay. Cool.
We take a look at Protean thaumaturge next. Potentially a reference to Autolycus, the grandfather of both Odysseus and Jason. Good lineage there. A son of Hermes as well. A prolific thief. He was reported to have the power to transform things he stole and sometimes himself into other things.
Ooh.
So that's where that's where we're sort of making that connection.
Is he stealing like the shadow spear or something? No,
Well, it
not
looks
quite.
like so. There's art of, I can't tell actually who that is, but basically, yeah,
Is it
he's-
Iroas? No.
It looks like Iroas,
Okay.
and basically, yeah, Iroas in the mosaic on the wall is holding a big spear, and he's gone like, oh, I'm gonna have that, and now he has one of the spears. So.
I'll take what? Do you have it in blue?
Gravebreaker Lamia. So Lamia, like many things we were just talking about in Greek myth, was a one monster.
Right.
It was the
Lamia.
The Lamia,
Okay.
which was either depicted as a horrible night demon who terrifies people, or a sea monster that may have given birth to Scylla of Scylla and Charybdis, also from the Odyssey. Ironically, the description of a half woman, half snake like Lamias tend to be depicted. The description. Yeah, Lamia tends to be depicted like a half woman, half snake, which could probably better go to Echidna, which was the monster bride of Typhon. She was a half woman, half snake as well. It's
So Lamia originally has kind of a vague description, and for some reason, in magic specifically, or in lots of descriptions, she's turned into a snake woman.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
another one of the things that's like, we need a monster for this myth.
Right.
Lamia. Let's use a
Lamia,
Lamia.
yeah.
Oh, it doesn't really. We'll make her a snake woman this time. Well,
Yeah,
okay,
and then
sure.
she swam away.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Raber wanted to note, when looking at Woe Strider, that in Greek myth, people did not twist into horrible monsters in the underworld. They were just themselves in the underworld. But depending on the interpretation, could sometimes appear as dread shades. But sacrificing a goat is definitely a way to get the god's favor in Greek times and Greek myths. So at least that part's accurate.
Cue up some shawarma. Gods love it.
Yeah. Lampad of Death's Vigil. Lampads were the nymphs of the underworld. There you go. That's what a lampad means. And there were lampads in the original Theros block as well. But yeah. Gary.
Oh,
yeah.
We have to talk about Gary's story?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
The
Thank
Grey
you,
Merchant of
Raber.
Asphodel. The Fields of Asphodel, just straight up the same word, is a place in the underworld where those who were unexceptional in life would go. An eternity of basically nothing. And asphodel is also a real plant.
Yep,
And
like
while
flour.
edible, is extremely bland.
Yep.
It was considered a food of last resort by ancient Greeks.
Well, go ahead.
There's a very lovely poem by William Carlos Williams called Asphodel, That Greeny Flower, which is a love poem for his wife that he wrote kind of towards the end of their lives. Also, it turns up in Destiny 2. Asphodel is the flower
Really?
that grows in the Black Garden that Aldrin picks when he invades the Black Garden and gives to Mara.
Cool.
So I think, or I hope at least, like the people at Wizards of the Coast, that for those of us with a life of kind of doing nothing unexceptional, there will at least be carrying around huge sacks of coins instead of straight nothing.
Yeah, I mean, look at this guy. He's got money.
Yeah, and he's a big time player.
Yeah.
You know,
Also, yeah.
Reckon Pauper and Standard sometimes.
Yeah.
EDH.
Also, dude is shredded.
Oh yeah,
I
clearly jacked.
I like the depiction also of Asphodel, that it's just like this kind of bleak, foggy path that presumably just sort of goes. It's neat.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. Meyer Triton, an example of a liminal creature, says Raber. In Greek religion, there were at varying points a focus on the liminal, things that are on the border between two things. So, in this case, the land and the sea, a zombie merfolk. Just sort of, that's it, just sort of interesting, because the flavor text, caught between life and death, between land and sea, between thought and oblivion. They just, for a period of time, the Greeks were like, I'm interested in the liminal now. Right.
All chemistry is surface chemistry.
Pharika's spawn is a Gorgon. Now, we were talking about Gorgons earlier.
Right.
So, Medusa, the most famous Gorgon, obviously. But there were actually... Do you know how many Gorgons there were?
I want to guess 3.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe
Three.
maybe
In
I'd
Greek
heard
myth.
Yeah. Medusa
the number will always either be 3 or 7.
Medusa was the only one of them that was mortal, which I guess sucks for Medusa.
Yeah, way to go.
According to Hesiod's Theogony, Steno and Euryale,
Good luck spelling that.
Euryale,
Oh, we cheated for you.
were the other sisters who were immortal and ageless. So,
You could have just Googled Gorgons.
Temple Thief, Raber mentions. This is the other half of Autolycus that I didn't think, or that the other half of Autolycus that I could see in the set because of his remarkable ability to steal even from heroes. He was reported to have stolen stuff from Heracles, of all people. So that's
You don't want to mess that one up.
Yeah.
So the Blight Breath Catoblepas, however you pronounce it.
I've been saying Catobleepus because then you get to say bleep.
Yeah.
But there's only one E, so maybe it's blep.
However you pronounce it, the Catoblepas
Yeah.
are not of Greek or Roman origin. According to Pliny the Elder, they're from Africa.
Oh, cool.
So, but apparently they did have foul breath.
I've heard, because I looked them up because I was like, what is a catoblepus? And apparently they may have been what they thought wildebeest looked like.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it does kind of look that way, sort of. just wildebeest have an actual face
Yeah.
instead of a skull.
Yeah, it's like how you get from rhinoceros to unicorn.
Right. The Catoblepus is the mythical idea.
Yeah, the
of
telephone game.
telephone game
The 6th generation.
of a wildebeest. Cool.
I call
But
him
in
the
Greece.
bleeper.
Yeah. I like that he was given a more real card for limited in this go around. The first time I think it was wasn't it just a vanilla, like expensive black
Yeah.
card that like you would occasionally have in your deck because
Because you
didn't
you
get
had-
another sip of death or
you
whatever.
needed playables, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I got this thing in my deck. It's kind of funny.
The Soul Reaper of Mogis, Raber points out that blood sacrifice was not actually especially common in regular Greek tradition, but in, Cam, help me out here, chthonic or chthonic?
I want to say chthonic.
Chthonic rituals to the underworld gods, or to contact the underworld, like Odysseus does in the Odyssey, one pours blood onto the earth. But making actual, like, certainly human sacrifices were not, like, really a thing. Oread of Mountains Blaze. We had Oreads in original Theros as well. Oreads are the nymphs of mountain conifers, not of fire, but sometimes you mechanically got to fill a cycle.
Yep.
So, Oreads, they're the mountain ones. So, to fire, but traditionally actually of trees. Nyxborn Brute, perhaps a reference to Polyphemus, the cyclops that Odysseus blinds with a red-hot stick in the Odyssey. Raber points this out specifically because it is attached through flavor text to the Calathea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, probably that. Dream Shaper Shaman. This is small, but dreams were usually used in Greek myth as a form of prophecy. One could look at your dreams and interpret them in order to find out what your future had in store for you. So maybe that's what this Minotaur is doing.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. Dreamstalker Manticore, another import, like the Bleeper. Manticores were monsters from Persia, with the body of a lion, the face of a man, and a tail that shot arrows.
Whoa.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and we've had Manticores in Magic
That's
before,
right.
but
Yeah.
And they do shoot arrows.
And then we have masticores.
Right.
Which I assume chew things while also shooting arrows.
yeah. Now we've talked about him a couple times already, but we'd look at Scophos Maze Warden. It's the OG Minotaur, complete with a activated ability that works, or no, a triggered ability that works with the Labyrinth, or the Labyrinth of Scophos. So, Poseidon, who again, keeping up from last time, was a bit of a wiener, cursed King Minos by having his wife Pasiphae fall in love with the Cretan bull, and that Poseidon had sent King Minos as a sign of his favor. In order to, so then his wife did it with the bull, presumably somehow, again, it's the myth, don't worry about it, and had a Minotaur, a bull man. And so then Minos had Daedalus build a labyrinth to keep the Minotaur. He didn't want to kill him, because
That's his son, right? It's his
kind
stepson.
of, yeah, I guess.
Stepson, yeah.
Stepson,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So put him in the middle of the labyrinth and then had...
The way you do, the nice thing to do to your stepson that you don't like.
Yeah.
Build him a basement suite.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just keep him at home where no one can see him. And then had young men and young women thrown into the labyrinth to be eaten by him. Until the Minotaur, of course, was killed by Theseus with the help of a ball of yarn. Because that's how he got back out of the labyrinth. The problem with the labyrinth was
thread, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because labyrinth kept moving.
Right.
So he just left a trail behind him so he would be able to find his way back out. Arena Trickster. So this is interesting because it looks like they're gearing up for a fight, for a gladiatorial fight in the arena, which is Roman.
Yeah.
And not a Greek thing.
No.
But maybe they're boxing.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of the heroic red cards in the original set, weren't they?
Right. There's some
Yeah.
arena cards
Yeah.
depicted.
Yeah, there's the guy with the fluttering petals.
The Greeks did have a basically sort of an MMA, anything goes combat sport called Pancration or
Oh.
Pancration. which was just, like the early days of UFC where there weren't actually rules. And it
Right.
really was just like, we're going to have a guy who does capoeira fight a guy who just hits really hard and go.
Yeah, just gonna put him in a jar and shake it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like the guy who's wearing a gi won again. You just hold onto your gi,
Yeah.
right? You get him in a chokehold.
Sure.
That's the only MMA thing I know. That's it.
Nice.
Speaking
That's
of
one more thing that I knew.
the Cretan Bull, the Ox of Agonas, probably an inspiration from the Cretan Bull here, because of the there's also a connection to the underworld. So there's that.
This card's pretty sweet.
Agonas as a realm isn't seated in any particular concept of the Greek underworld, but yeah, it's really cool and scary looking.
Very.
So there's that. The Nessian boar, we mentioned last time Renata took down the Caledonian boar. So presumably the Nessian boar is the same sort of thing, just like because Renata led the best hunters in all of Theros on a quest to bring down the terror of the Setessan wilds. So Renata and the boar.
Walks like a duck, talks like a duck.
It's a boar.
It's a boar. Actually a boar
Yeah.
this whole time. My bad.
If we take a look at Setessan Petitioner as an example of offerings given to the gods in a non-sacrificial context. For example, when celebrating the Chronia, they would offer Kronos a grain cake rather than a sacrifice, except for one alleged report of it that is disputed by historians.
Turns out here the grandfather of the gods also did like oatmeal cookies.
Yum yum.
Yeah, why not? Grandfathers of gods and grandfathers in real life, fans of Dad's oatmeal cookies.
It's right there in the name.
I dip them in coffee.
Let's check out the Elysian Caryatid. So this is a reference to both the Elysian Fields, it's spelled differently, and the Isles of the Blessed. When they were divided up, it was thought that those who were initiated in a god's mysteries and lived a virtuous life would go to the Elysian Fields, where everything was very pleasant. This is
It's like heaven, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like the
you might
underworld,
remember
but good,
this
right?
most pop culture notable reference, Gladiator, the Russell Crowe movie,
Right.
Because there's like his like waving his hands through the wheat in the Elysian Fields, and his wife and two kids, one kid. I don't.
His family's there.
My father too.
It matters how
Yeah.
many kids they had.
Anyway, so people who lived a virtuous life and were initiated into a god's mystery would end up in the Elysian Fields. Blessed heroes would go live on the Isle of the Blessed, ruled over by Kronos, and which was an island paradise. When reincarnation became a thing in Greek thought, the idea was introduced that if one reincarnated multiple times and got to the Elysian Fields 3 times, then on the 4th go-round, they would be elevated to live with the mythical heroes in the Isle of the Blessed. So, you're really hoping for the RNG.
Yeah, the NG+++.
Yeah, exactly. So, because the flavor text on Elysian Caryatid is, those who die as heroes are permitted to dwell in Elysia, a protected realm of the underworld as tranquil and vibrant as the rest is bleak. So,
How bad would it be to lead a virtuous life, go and dwell in the Elysian Fields, and then get reincarnated and have to do it all over again?
I don't know if bad is like a fair, adjective for it, right? It's like such a hard thing to wrap your mind around. Is it good or bad to have to like leave paradise and live again? Which is a worse state? We're getting pretty deep here, right?
if you
Earth is the worst.
Okay, fair enough.
But if you leave paradise and then you keep living a virtuous life again, then you know that you'll go back to the Elysian Fields when you die.
But Cam's arguing that just living a virtuous life is like horrible and a lot of hard work, right?
Well, I mean, you're already there, right?
Yeah.
You led a life of virtue and presumably things like denial, asceticism.
Right.
You had to learn all
Sacrifice.
those mysteries.
Right.
So I do want to talk about Voracious Typhon briefly. We've mentioned him a bunch of times, but it's weird because this is like the Voracious Typhon, but the flavor text is a Typhon's escape from the underworld makes armies flee and kingdoms fall. So Typhon, we have a description of him now. The father of monsters. Typhon was a storm giant who was gigantic with serpents for legs, 100 serpent heads for fingers. He had wings. Some myths also depict him as a volcano giant. He was born of Tartarus and Gaia, and according to Hesiod's theogony, was imprisoned either under a mountain or in Tartarus after getting defeated by Zeus. So, I mean, certainly see the 100 different serpent heads. Kind of makes him look a little like a Hydra, this guy, but, the two in front, the two humans in front don't seem too perturbed by it.
Yeah.
Which is an odd choice. But anyway, yeah. So there was one. It's weird to have multiple Gorgons or multiple Lamias, or the implication of multiple Lamias or multiple Chimeras is okay, sure, but Typhon, father of all monsters, to be oh yeah, look out, a Typhon is coming, is kind of terrifying.
I wonder where the line gets drawn, where you have multiple Typhons, multiple Medusas, but only one Perforos. Mm-hmm. Right?
Full random, right? Yeah.
The bronze-hide lion is Magic's second crack at the Nemean lion, because of course it was the fleece-mane lion in original Theros. The Nemean lion is from the myth of Heracles' labors, and it had an indestructible hide, but it can be suffocated. Heracles discovered, and fitting with the myth, upon death, the fleece
right.
can be worn by another creature that grants its own form of indestructibility. And Dream Trawler doesn't just win in Limited, but also is a problem for Oedipus. The original Sphinx in Greek myth prevented access in and out of the gates of Thebes in Oedipus Rex, and only one could answer its riddle. And when Oedipus correctly answered, then the Sphinx admitted him and threw herself onto a cliff to her death. Because she's well, they figured it out. Goodbye.
If someone can solve my riddle, it's just not worth living anymore. Wild.
I mean, that would be nice if there was a way to do that in the game.
Yeah, if there's a way to just kill the Dream Trawler.
To trick the Dream
That would be
Trawler
nice.
into killing herself.
That would be nice.
That would be good.
Yeah, or just to swing past a Dream Trawler would also be good.
Then let's do artifacts. So, Mirror Shield. We talked about Medusa a couple times, and that is indeed how Medusa was defeated, because, of course, Medusa, the Gorgon, if you look at her, you turn to stone. And so Perseus used the very, very shiny mirror-like shield to trick Medusa into looking at herself. Bum, bum, bum. And it let him... Oh, no, actually, that's not actually how it went down.
Because he cut her head off, right? Yeah. Sorry.
Whatever power she has that you look at her and you turn into stone doesn't work through mirrors. So
okay.
he used the mirror shield to basically be okay, I see where she is.
Okay.
She's here, and basically was looking in a mirror the whole time while he was fighting her. So yeah, I mean, I think this depiction is showing a Gorgon petrifying herself, but actually he used it so that he could chop. Anyway, the point is,
So as he turned his shield, the shield had a mirror on the inside, and he's just using the mirror to triangulate.
I don't think it's ever really specified with that kind of
I assume it would have
granularity.
been a standard hoplite bronze shield.
Okay.
Right. Kind of like in Kill Bill when she's looking at the gangsters in the reflection on her sword.
Right. Anyway, the flavor win here, of course, is that the shield just kills creatures with death touch, as often Gorgons do. Thundering Chariot. The Greeks, big fans of chariot warfare. But notably, the idea of chariot warfare in Greece is a matter of historical dispute. Some claim the mountainous terrains of Greece would have made it terrible, but at the same time, they've definitely found chariot parts in Greece. So, there's evidence at least of chariots in Greece. We can say that much is true. The altar of the Pantheon is a visual reference, of course, to the Parthenon. It looks a lot like the Parthenon, but the idea of it as because there was no temple in ancient Greece that was dedicated to all the gods. The idea of having a temple of the whole pantheon, that did not happen. They didn't get along. The gods, each god got their own temple. They were happy with that.
Keep them separated.
Yeah, you could have them next door, but you did not have one temple that was all the gods.
Yeah, you don't want all of them included in one prayer either, right? Like they just get mad at you.
Yeah. You're like, why? Keep my name out of your mouth.
Yeah. Wings of Hubris, as we talked about already, Icarus flying too close to the sun. These wings appear to be to not be made of feathers and wax, which was the actual the flying too close to the sun was that Daedalus?
Daedalus.
Yes, made the wings. They were feathers stuck together with wax, and the reason it was a problem is because Icarus flew too close to the sun. The wax melted and they all fell apart. Whereas this is just looks like shoddy engineering.
Yeah. I mean, Dalichos, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
He was your son.
Oh.
How did Dalichos have a human son?
Shh.
Okay. All right. Sure. You know what?
Also,
Yeah.
what was the MST3K film? Cave Dwellers?
Oh yes.
Yeah, with the extruded aluminum frame where he like walks
goes-
off
he
stage.
runs into the bushes. He's like, "Wait, I have an idea." Runs into the bushes, comes out with a hang glider.
Like just like a commercial ass hang glider, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Bronze sword, notable only because bronze is common in depictions of ancient Greece. They used bronze a lot. They also did use iron, but there you go. Bronze. And our last artifact, the enchanting lyre, as we mentioned at the top, referenced Orpheus, the most famous lyre player of all of ancient Greece, and its ability to tap down a creature references Orpheus's mythical ability to calm and soothe almost anything with the skill of his playing.
You don't need to attack. Just listen to this beautiful melody.
Yeah.
Just it's a vibe out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird that it is playing itself. It's got hands that it's playing it. Congratulations, you've played yourself. But that's weird, though. I'll be leaving now.
Yeah, maybe that's why creatures get tapped down. It's sitting there going like, "Honk, bing, bing," 'cause it has no eyes,
Yeah.
right? Or ears, for
Ears,
that matter.
yeah.
And you're just sitting there staring at it going, I hate this thing. I think I really hate this thing.
But it's so weird.
Yeah. So I actually have even more notes on just fun Greek myth facts of other enchantments, and of course the planeswalkers and instants and sorceries and stuff as well. But that is going to do it for this episode because we're almost at 55-ish minutes for this one, and it'll be another whole thing, and probably not the next episode. I'm thinking now, I don't know if we want to do 3 of these in a row. Presumably magic news will happen that we'll want to talk about, or mix it up a little bit.
I mean,
but if
if
people want, we can do episode 3. Sorry, you were going to say?
What if there is no magic news?
No,
Yeah.
then we got an episode ready.
Yeah. What if everything's just okay?
Oh, that'd be nice.
Ha.
Wouldn't it be nice? But ideally, we'll do that before Ikoria comes out, at least, because at that point, everyone's just going to want to talk about behemoths. I assume, since it's the lair of the behemoths.
Nobody likes giant monsters, Graham.
I do.
You know who else likes giant monsters? CardKingdom.com. Go to CardKingdom.com/LRR to get your giant monsters delivered anywhere you want, unless they're the ones found in the sealed booster packs you want from recent sets, in which case, go to the States first and then buy them from there. Or have an address in the States.
You got it covered. Good
yeah.
job.
And get a button that says, that has reach, by saying, give me a button that says that has reach.
Yeah.
That was both elegant and intricate.
It
Very
was.
nicely done, Nelson.
What can I say? I've been working for the past 55 minutes on a sweet segue. As I barely contributed anything to this. Watch this right here. I barely contributed anything to this podcast. Unlike you, our Patreon supporters, contributing to this and all other things we do. We literally couldn't do it without you. Thanks so much. I've been Nelson.
I was Cameron.
I've been Graham. That's James.
Heather gets these up.
There you go. Good job. Goodbye. Thank you, Raver and Raven, for all of your
Yes.
notes on Greek myth. Talk to you all next time. Bye.